at the time he became U.S. Senator, he was the only Black U.S. Senator, the second one next to Carol Moseley Braun. Mm-hmm. And I thought when he entered that seat, and that was already difficult because we stayed in Chicago, kept our kids in school, and he commuted back and forth. Mm-hmm. I thought when he got that seat, we would at least stabilize there for a minute. But then the world happened, and he caught fire in a way that he didn't anticipate. I don't think anyone anticipated. And it just felt like it was too fast, too soon. It felt like it was too much, but I could feel it coming. I knew he was gifted and talented, but I didn't want to upend our lives. I was worried about my kids. Like you said, they were young. I didn't know what it meant to live in the White House, what it meant to just pull my kids out of the only school they had known, around their friends, their community. So I was probably more worried for them than I was for myself. And I worried that a run and heaven forbid if he won, what would that life be like for my kids? Would they get out of that hole and healthy? Would we manage so? And not to mention that he was getting death threats throughout the campaign. I mean, I think he had to get Secret Service early in the primary because he was running as the first Black person in a country that we now know is still not ready for diversity. So that was frightening, having Secret Service enter your world. So yeah, what was there not to be afraid of?
And Craig, as a big brother, what was that like for you to bear witness to it? I'm assuming that you had to be a constant source of strength, no matter how terrified you were, no matter what your thoughts were.
Yeah, that's a great question. And we haven't gotten a chance to talk about this much. So I'm going to share a story with you because I wasn't as worried or fearful as everyone else was. Because first of all, my mom raised us, both of us, to put our fears to the background and try new things. But I want to tell you a story that I've told this a couple of times, but not very often. Before Barack even, he and Mish were still dating. And it was the first sort of holiday where he was around our family. And it was Thanksgiving. I remember this very clearly. And it was at my mom's house. And my mom's house is small, but we'd have the whole family there for Thanksgiving, and it was a whole lot of people there. So I'm being the big brother, and I go over to Barack, and I like him by now, and I know Mish likes him. So I'm like, let me help this brother manage these crazy folks over here. So I say to him, I'm like, hey, Barack, so what, I love your background and I'm being Mr. Big Brother. And at this time, I hadn't gotten into coaching yet. I'm working in investment banking. So I'm pretty full of myself thinking I'm, got the world by the tail. I'm like, so what are your plans? And he said, well, I really think I'd like to be a politician. And he said, and I said, what do you mean, like running for alderman or mayor or something? And he said, I think I'd like to be like a congressman or a senator and maybe even run for president. And before he could get the whole word out, I was like, bro, shh, you don't want to say that too loud. Folks will think you're crazy over here. Yeah. And lo and behold, that right there was that was me showing fear. But then I started watching him and following him, and then we all were working on the campaign, and I was thinking to myself, by the time he gave that speech, I was like, this dude could be president.
Yeah.
So I was less fearful because we had that discussion way back when. And he was like so serious, and I was thinking, this dude is crazy. And what I shared with Mom and Mish both when they were sort of poo-pooing the idea is it would not have been fair for either of them or any of us to penalize Barack for being really good at what he was doing. And that's for men, irrespective of race, but for black men to sort of emasculate them because they're good at what they're doing is just, I was like, you can't do it. You just can't do it. We all, this is all of us. We just, and my thing was, he might not win. I was proud. I was worried, but I felt like if my dad was alive, he would have been saying what I would have been saying. He would have been like, well, you know, it's going to be tough, but you can't not try to do it.